some emails first. Hello. Welcome back to another stream. Today's pretty early. I'm trying not to go to the class because the professor don't take attendance. I thought it would be a waste of my time, but we're not just gonna waste a day, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm not gonna go to class, then at least I gotta do something that's equal or even better than going to class, which is grinding. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck this is. Just follow these up real quick. Alrighty. So that part is done. Dropping some classes too. Dropping 2 classes. Not gonna lie, fucked up in the beginning. You know, some of the classes does require attendance and takes a lot of fucking will to get there. But hey, it is what it is. You know, I can't complain that much. Just make sure next time everything is better. I think where I fucked up was I was slacking out too much in the beginning. I was doing other degenerate stuff instead of going to class and actually finishing the education that my mom paid for. I think that's tough, but hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Next, what we're gonna do is actually just research some fashion brand. I think I want to break down each component. Before we do that, we need to think about the testing. So let's see if my mentor actually replied to me about the scientific testing, because apparently he was a very big market researcher in this advertising agency. So he must know a little bit more about than I do. No, I'm probably pretty sure he knows more about it than I do. Can you confirm the job number of the role that you were interested in? Job number of the role? Bitch, I don't fucking know. Okay, let's go here. Let's go to banner web, yeah. Let me employ site. Might have changed a little. Let's Yeah, so I only got like 4 jobs out of all the things. But hey, I already emailed her. Allison is already done. So I show letter. Atlanta. Did I send it to the right email though? I think it might have been. What the heck? No, that's the right email. Maybe they're just busy. You know what I mean? I don't want that much anyway. But what I am interested in is this. The research engineer job is actually pretty cool, to be honest. 4-2. What was it called? Yeah, there you go. Just email that real quick. Go to another email. But damn, man, I've been thinking a lot about commitment, even last night and for the past few weeks. Like just my commitment to different relationships and also commitment to the process. You know, like you want to get rich, like let's put full effort into that, bro. But it doesn't mean you have to slack on. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to slack off from. Like you don't have to slack off on universities and jobs too, because at the end of the day, you're paying for it, right? So yeah, 429. Like at this time of the age, like I have so much fucking time that I'll be lying to myself if I said, "Oh, I don't have time for university." Oh, even when I take university seriously, oh, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. Motherfucker, all you have is fucking time. That's the only thing that we have. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about when someone say, I don't know, I don't have enough time, and they're just lying to themselves. Like, it's like you wanting the results that you didn't even put the work in for, bro. I don't want to lie to myself anymore. You know, I want to use full potential of my time. Position. It is a position. You gotta be quick with these motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, anyway. Yeah. Yeah, even if you look at people that are like truly fucking dedicated, like every billionaire, millionaire podcast that you listen to, everyone talks about dedication. They were willing to work harder than nobody did. They were willing to put that time in when nobody did. So it's like, what is their motivating factor, right? Is that they have to reach to their goal no matter what. And I realized that everyone have goals. Every guy wants to be rich. I'm not special in that way, sense or form. Every guy wants to make their mom proud. Everyone wants to buy their mom a house, a car. They want to buy themselves a car. They want to provide for their family and shit. But it's about who really wants it, right? Because getting there is not an easy road. Like, the truth is, if you put 100% of your commitment into getting rich in the next 5 years, 10 years, whatever, there's a slight chance that you might get it, right? Like, you might get it. You're not 100% sure that you're gonna get it, but you might get it. But what's the other side? Alex Hormozi, I think, talks about this a lot. Like, if you're not gonna try, then there's 100% possibility. There's 100% chance that you're gonna fucking fail. I don't wanna fail. Like, I'm not gonna give up, because that's 100% the right way to go if you want to be nothing. So yeah, just have to put that in that mindset. Like, don't hope for the result. Just put the work in. As long as we put the work in, I feel like everything is gonna work out. Like, I think that's what comes with confidence too. Like, confidence and competence in the work that you do is in the amount of work that you put in the night before, the night when everyone was going out, the night when your friends are all over the city and you're just sitting in your room on a Friday night alone, just fucking reading the Lead Generation or studying Supreme, because you just want to know what makes them pop like that in a few years. It's fucking beautiful in a way. It's beautiful. Alright, I'll just get straight into it. What do I have to do next? I have to find some startup jobs. I think that's what I want to do now. Let me just look at this. Design for students by students, blah blah. Application one now open. 1, 2. Okay, this is for Yale, right? Like, let's go to University of Pennsylvania. Search up startups. The vacancy provide students with opportunity to meet aluminum founders. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna delete this. I'm also gonna delete this. And then I'm gonna save all of the startup things in the bookmark. Better entrepreneurship information system. Not really quite sure. Join us for info system about Venture Labs. Oh, it's today. Oh shit. It's actually today. I can actually go. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going. Dava. As the third year, the Better Entrepreneur program provide current first-year student at University of Advanced Generation low income with a summer immersion placement, one of the based venture capital firm. There's no who can't join this meeting. Assist with travel expense of BOE program. Let's reserve myself. Oh, it's virtual too. Fucking amazing. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Beautiful stuff, boys. Yeah, let's fucking go. Let's reserve a spot. Oh, this is beautiful, boys. What a great news to work with. You know, sometimes all you need is that. just a little bit of good luck. And good luck doesn't come by itself. You can't just sit on your bed all day and wait until luck fucking hits you. You have to be working every day, showing up even though luck doesn't show up. And when the time comes, when you show up and luck show up, that might coincide into a beautiful harmony, what we call success, baby. Yeah. I actually want to know that, like, you know, because I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? Oh, I want to know. I also want to take my content more seriously. You know, I want to put things out. I mean, if you're watching this, you're either one of my friends, or you're my girlfriend, or you're my family member, or there might be a chance that you're watching this because you're actually also Burmese and you're interested in entrepreneurship and you want to make something better for your country. And I think that's my avatar with this channel. Like, to be able to find like-minded people, so that one day we can all be together. My goal is not to become the richest man in the world or the most powerful man in the world. Don't get me wrong, it'd be nice to have all those things, but at the end of the day, I just want to be happy. I want to have a shit ton of cash in my bank account. I want to be able to take my mom anywhere that I want to go, anywhere that she wants to go. Provide for my sisters so that they have I'm not gonna give them a safety net, but in a case that something goes wrong, I can give them the capital to start with, you know. I just want to be great, and I want to be happy with myself when I go to bed at night or look myself in the mirror and say, God damn, Boris, you're really working towards something that you want. I'm fucking proud of you. Like, I think that's the cure to depression, man. Like, people want to say, I want to feel loved. I want to feel understood. I want to feel accepted. Like, bro, we guys don't need that shit. You know, all we need is a little bit of motivation, somewhere that we can strive towards, and the ability to get there. If you give us that, bro, we will crawl through the fucking fire. I heard that quote. Interests in entrepreneurship, select one that most closely applies to you currently. Explorer, just getting started, figuring out how I can engage. Founder, I want to I want to join a startup without the employee internship or full time. That's true. Would you like to receive an intro lab emails? Yes, please. Cause I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I'm going, baby. Let's go. Can I add this? Can I add this to my Google Calendar? It's probably in my email though, right? Because I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? God damn. It is true that I've always thought that this role would be a little bit more fun. Yeah, but it is fun, but it's a different kind of fun, right? You have to rewire your brain to see this thing as fun for yourself. You can't be that guy who thinks that just because you get rich, You get a lot of friends. You're gonna be surrounded by people that you love, and this is all gonna give you eternal happiness and power. Like it might making shit money like that might, but the road to get there is not always easy. It's definitely not fucking easy. You have to push yourself. You have to confront yourself on your insecurities, on false promises that you made on yourself, things that people told you and you believed it without even having a second thought. Like bro, you know. Can I add this to my calendar? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? We go. What is it again? 12 to 1. So 12 to 1. Venture capital meeting. Check email. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Okay, few tickets left. Already done that. Event is already in the fucking time buff. Let's see if we're students, Angela, people, VIP, circles to the stars, workshop with people. Yeah, but I just thought it would be a good idea to also find like-minded people, because I know I can't get there alone, you know. I know that the grinding sessions are alone, working on your business is alone, but it'd be nice to have some ideas of what other people are doing, what drives them, the pitfalls that I can fall into, maybe some of the mistakes that I can avoid. The truth is, I'm not making any money currently. Compared to most people, I'm not making shit. I'm making nothing, bro, compared to other people. So it's just tough, right? Like that also sense of failure, that you don't want other people to know that you're not anything yet. You just want people to know when you're something. But how you gonna get somewhere if you're afraid of who you are right now? You just accept it. I don't know anything. I don't make any money. I have no skills. But I have a desire to get there. And I'm willing to work hard enough to get there. I think that's the only thing that matters. You know. Entrepreneurs at MVCs, American and Google working spaces in the Bay Area to later open to students and alumni. Brings resources West Coast. That's a meeting with inspiration. Law tech is design. We can help you with a practical problem launching a startup to our program. Our venture or Harvard have a lot of those. I bet, bro. Come on, they must. If they don't, then it's a bit fucked. They have so much stuff. Holy shit. What? Damn, okay, bro. We got it. You know, I'm glad we got it. Okay. Okay. I just bookmark this real quick too. Yeah, there you go. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain and jobs as ooh. My LinkedIn profile. I gotta change the sheet. Sheet. I want to say founder, you know what I'm saying? Like, Anyway. See, I have to get good at a skill too. That's the truth too, right? Like, we gotta enter boot camp and shit like that. Yeah, like I can't just be so stuck up. Like I have to be able to work on multiple things at the same time. Like to be able to learn how to code, also working on my business, plus going to school and also working at the gym. Just fucking max out your days, bro. Cause I'm never gonna have these days again. Like, I'm never gonna have days where I just can't fuck off and do nothing at all, and have all the time in the day that I want. And use this time, opportunity, brother. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wake up at like 40 years old, fucking thinking about, oh, when I was 20, it should have been this. Shut the fuck up, bro. I'm sick of this. want to become a millionaire in 3 years? Because I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? Damn. Okay. It's like a 5-month boot camp. That's a pretty good offer. It's a really good offer, matter of fact. Ooh, SpaceX. Can I like book a? Yeah, it's tough. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? That's a that's a pretty hefty price. $13,000. Goddamn. I mean, they have a pretty good offer, so it's a good investment too. It's a pretty good fucking offer. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, in a way, they do have it. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Goddamn. I am a junior computer science student at Drexel University. Interesting. Son. My goal is to work at a startup to learn and soak up everything. Soak up everything. Mentorship. Any advice? Any advice? Where can I seek experience in those? Hello, my name is Nang Uwe, but most people know me as Boris. I am a my path was clearly charted out when I realized that I realized that the future of business relies heavily on technology, especially with the technology events that are happening today within AI and machine learning. I believe that is the next step to take business to the next level and towards the growing margin fields of computer science. Um,
This lesson covers the dreaded tell me about yourself question. You hate this question. All of my clients hate this question. But it's the question that starts off 99% of job interviews. I highly recommend spending some time on this question because it's going to make a world of difference to your interview performance and your results. Let's get started. First, why is it that every interviewer asks this question? Along with variations like, walk me through your resume and tell me more about you. It sounds like a harmless way to start a job interview. It's very open-ended, not particularly difficult. Everybody should know there's something about themselves that they can talk about, right? From the interviewer's perspective, it's an easy way to get the conversation going. They just want to get you talking and dive into the relevant information. For the candidate, the dread comes from the fact that the question is so open-ended. You could answer it in so many different ways, and people aren't quite sure what the best way is. What does this person want to know about me? They stumble, they falter, they talk too much about ancient history. And that's a terrible way to start an interview. By fumbling around and sounding confused, or worse, boring your interviewer. But you don't have to dread this question. Instead, I want you to embrace it. Because answering this question well is one of the most effective things you can do in the entire interview. It allows you to set the tone. It gives you some power and autonomy in this interview situation where you may otherwise feel nervous and at the mercy of your interviewer. By starting strong, you make a great first impression and shape the dialogue that comes next. Take the time to prepare how you want to tell your story and ensure you make a first impression that leads to a job offer. Here's how you should craft your tell me about yourself response. Think about it as an elevator pitch, a focused overview that's concise enough to deliver during an elevator ride. Your elevator pitch as a job candidate should include your top selling points for the position. Your top selling points are going to be a little bit different from job to job. You want to give a bit of your personality and your interest in the opportunity, along with your selling points. You want to sound natural and spontaneous, while also covering the points that you want to communicate to make the best possible impression. I'm going to teach you to outline a standard answer that can also be customized for different opportunities. I recommend a bullet point approach, not a scripted approach. Scripted answers tend to sound stiff and artificial. Interviewers don't feel like they're getting to know the real you. Instead, I suggest that you outline the bullet points that you want to cover and leave room for spontaneity in terms of exactly how you deliver the points each time. Then, with a little practice, you'll find that your answers will naturally evolve as you get comfortable with what you want to say. Once you know your key speaking points, you'll have room to be flexible and deliver differently in every single interview. It's not unlike how a celebrity prepares with a publicist before hitting the talk show circuit. They want to sound genuine and likable, so they don't script their remarks, but they do have an idea of the topics they want to cover. Promoting a new movie, telling a funny story about their coworker, you know how it goes. So let's get started with outlining your elevator pitch. We've got a great 3-step formula for you. Step 1, who you are. The first key component is
who am I? International.
Confident, compelling statement of who you are professionally. The most common mistake I see is candidates starting this answer by going back to the beginning of their resume and walking through their experience chronologically, and often in way too much detail. This approach is weak because it leads with out-of-date and irrelevant information, instead of leading with what's most impressive about you right now. For most candidates, the best bet is to lead with a bit about their current or most recent position, as well as an overview of the breadth and depth of their related experience. Let's take a look at a couple of examples to give you a sense of what I'm talking about here. So here's our first candidate. Who are you? Well, I'm a recent Columbia MBA graduate with a strong background in the pharmaceutical industry. This puts the emphasis on that shiny new MBA and the candidate's industry experience. Here's another approach from a different candidate. I'm an experienced HR executive who has managed all aspects of the HR function, from recruiting to training to benefits. This is a nice, big picture, high-level introduction for someone who has a diverse skill set within the HR function. It concisely summarizes a diverse background. Now let's look at a not-so-good example. Well, I grew up in Cincinnati. As a child, I originally wanted to be a fireman, but later became quite interested in dinosaurs. I excelled in the sciences from early on, placing first in my 4th grade science fair. You know, funny story about that. Okay, way too much information. Sadly, the interviewer does not really care. And I realize this is an exaggerated example, but trust me, I've heard a lot of people go the TMI route. The idea here is to start strong and grab their attention before getting into the details. Tell them how you want them to see you. Step 2, why you're qualified. Step 2 is kind of like the meat in the sandwich of your tell me about yourself answer. The idea here is to plan in advance which details to share that are most likely to knock the socks off of this interviewer. Remember, your interviewer doesn't have endless amounts of time. Focus on 2 to 4, maybe 5 points that you'd like to make. The goal is to keep the whole answer under 2 minutes total. So think about it. What are those 2 to 4 points? There'll be more time for detail later. So focus on the biggest selling points. The stuff that you think, if you were the interviewer, would make you perk up your ears and say, ah, this is interesting. This could be a classic reverse chronological overview of your last few positions, or it could be a list of key accomplishments tailored to the job requirements. So let's look at an example here of how you might present that middle piece of the answer. I spent the last 6 years developing my skills as a customer service manager for Mega Company Inc., where I've won several performance awards, and I've been promoted twice. I love managing teams and solving customer problems. This is a very concise example, and yours can certainly have a bit more detail. Just keep in mind that the overall answer should be no longer than 2 minutes. What's good about this answer? Well, the emphasis is on relevant experience, and not just that, but proof of performance. It's not just a summary of job duties. A lot of people make that mistake, both on their resume and in the interview. When asked about what you did somewhere, you're not just going to rattle off the duties that any human would have done in the position. You're going to focus on what you did that was above and beyond. Accomplishments,
Competency. Fuck that shit, bro. I have a strong passion in business and entrepreneurship.
This is your chance to express enthusiasm for the position in 1, maybe 2 sentences. Keep it short and sweet here. Here's an example of one way to do this. Although I love my current role, I feel I'm now ready for a more challenging assignment. And this position really excites me. This is very general. You could use it for a lot of different positions. If you can make it a bit more specific for the job, even better. But something along these lines will work well. You'll have time to get into more detail later, to show that you've researched the company, to show why you're a great fit for the role. The goal in this moment is to wrap up your pitch in a concise, confident way.
$17,000 is
Once you've
crazy.
got bullet points for each of the 3 steps, it's time to put them all together into a polished, powerful elevator pitch. The key is to practice a bit and find your rhythm, find your flow. You can practice a time or two with your notes handy. Then, once you've internalized the general outline, it's going to feel more natural, and your personality is going to come through. To give you an idea of how it can all come together, I want to share an example answer. Here's a candidate with their version of the answer to, tell me about yourself.
I'm a human resources communications specialist with more than 5 years of experience. For the last 3 years, I have been in charge of HR communications for the Hartley Company. In this role, I manage a team of 3 people, and we handle all benefits and policy communications to a staff of 8,000 employees. Prior to this role, I started my career as a human resources coordinator at General Financial, where I learned a lot over 2 years. When my manager made the move to Hartley, she asked me to come along to run their HR communications side. I've loved my time at Hartley, but I started to think about what's next, as there isn't a lot more room to grow in my current position. At this stage in my career, I feel I'm ready to apply my skills to some new challenges at a more global organization, which is why I'm so interested in this position.
Your version will be even stronger, maybe more detailed, tailored for a particular type of opportunity. Now that you know what you need to do to ace this answer, it's time to outline your own bullet points for each of the 3 parts and start practicing. Big Interview has more sample answers. And
I am an international student studying computer science with a strong passion in business and entrepreneurship. For the past 3 years, I have worked. Last 3 years. For the past 2 years, for the past year, I've worked. And then marketing agency that I've started myself, specializing for med spas and cosmetics, aesthetic clinics. In this position, I worked with 3 other people. Oh, I don't know, bro. Fuck me. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know. God did.
told that me show light, bitch you know right, bitch you know gonna go light, I'ma go blind, being beyond light, that shit dope right, yeah. Don't lie, man, bro, right, that you told that me show light, bitch you know right. Yeah, they think like you could let them on like I got it hard. Never feel it, I'm the even like a genius, so they call my lady behind. Never feel it. She got something to get booted on the heavy, no my yard. Never in there. I'm gonna put my shit on yard, in there. All the picture, me, yeah. Dumbs everywhere, dumbs everywhere, dumbs everywhere, dumbs everywhere, all over the city. Home me like the same, the chunk like me, yeah. Don't let me have a mingo, side you like you night, moving like a bitch. Come anywhere, come anywhere, come anywhere, come anywhere if you wanna see me. Yeah, my chair, for the light, man, DJ Nightmare, we the shy, yeah, you did it right here. Wait a minute. You see, they not a big my there. Say me in there. But you never break the limit. I'ma run through the night, run through the night, run through the night, and do the I can. Come to my guy, then shoot the light, man. I do it like that. I'm a real motherfucking dark night. I'm a dark night. Dark night. I'm a dark night. I'm a dark night. Dark night. Calling cold light, I'm a cold light, being beyond light, that shit dope right, yeah. Cold light, man, bro, right, that you told that me show light, bitch you know right, bitch you know. Calling cold light, I'm a cold light, being beyond light, that shit dope right, yeah. Cold light, man, bro, right, that you told that me show light, bitch you know right. I'm the hottest in the town and the fucking cold-blooded. Bitch you know what it is. Go but walk out and I will like my thumb done it. She on low, yummy there. Never do I want me no mercy phone to send it. Yeah, I'm real club there. Probably like my me was something there. The theory of a my yeah, where I'm the king of the night, king of the night, king of the night, king of the night, so I lead it all. Feeling really shake on the day, queen in the beam, my pain and me go baby, TV and go straight. Now you can run, now you can run, now you can run, now you can run, people want me to tweet out. Now some yellow man, so don't yellow if you drop some other shit. You fucking dead, you go using my melody, I all she all I be, need a little my feelings, I don't be with the DG, but I'm me look up in my TV, see the sheet of G, Mimati and Sama Japonji. Street life, dollar street life, Johnny don't get me the knee life, being peace life, me go make me the G life, me a G life, not for look at jam, me, me, don't make me tea cup. Right, I'm a dark night. Dark night. I'm a dark night. I'm a dark night, dark night. Calling cold light, I'm a cold light, being beyond light, that shit dope right, yeah. Cold light, man, bro, right, that you told that me show light, bitch you know right, bitch you know. Calling cold light, I'm a cold light, being beyond light, that shit dope right, yeah. Cold light, man, bro, right, that you told that me show light, bitch you know right. champion. He's a champion. Yeah, he's a champion. Om je zo gamen, kan je niet aan maken breken. Touw jaren, jouw dwaren, nog in de zin, ik kan zien me kan met touw vangen. Hey, stay me zo net, hey yo, we zagen zie aan de beeld, stay me stay show. Oh, we naar op een kind en daar nog een chin en koud en nog aan je, zo dat jam, maar doe ik me dit. Yeah, they up, set it, step it up, you must be ripping up. Be the boy you are, so swag it or you need cold. Green not the meme, you land in the more will I not let. Nothing I have it, I don't give my talent. I'm a shot at my gang the poetry, mama in it, I don't click clack, I just spit rap. The bar too line all way. We ain't me simple, I pick on him, man. I'm a talking, but look at your man. A trim way got an it's all there. Dini, I'm a llama, shit, and my mouth and it's yours there. Minute find with the triggers, I'm down there. James won't have found no man, I'm game along yet. I'm a phone there, project one that found me, the mid, you're the story, man, go like me a super tired, mental, but we can't, yeah, cheap, no. But the young one stands high. Running through the heart, the night alone, yeah, boy. Today you cheat, kinda in the land, boy. Meet the Lucy, the demu, but we just can't go to the Apple shot and meet the Martin, that's their cool. Come on, DJ, me the land, but the one can eat. You find your brand, you got dancing. sorry. Yoga but don't get shot to sorry. Mala you talk about me to sorry. That's what I'm talking about. Shitty talking about no champion king. Sorry. They got to do change to sorry. Music sing get market of sorry. Doesn't even go to make it up sorry. I might take a thing on it, I can't sorry. They don't even check me make it sorry. Not doing they don't even do it sorry. They don't want to let me get sorry. I pay count on them and get sorry. They don't sorry. I do it sorry. Get out. No she sing giant boy. They are chicken. Sorry.
Life is misery. I'm sorry. I fall in love with myself for one night. Sunday, to be mine.
Hey, you're probably here looking for a career change because you're overworked, or you're underpaid, or you're not climbing the ranks and earning the respect you want. It's frustrating to feel like you're not getting anywhere. The government may shut down the economy at any moment. We've all been there. So now, you don't want to lose your income if it ever happens again. And you know the stimulus checks will cover your expenses. Maybe you want to do something remote so you're not at risk of getting sick, which also will put you out of work. And hey, let's face it, who doesn't want to work remote from home? Pretty sweet thing if you ask me. Now, also, what if you're not able to provide for your family? Or what are you in danger of losing? Do you have savings in the bank to cover a car breaking down? Or what if some black hole ends up the constant worth of people in today's world? So college, not for everyone anymore. Now, maybe you've done something else like trying to start a side hustle or a business. Thousands of ads tell you how easy it is until you actually try. And when you try, you'll see how pretty much you need a lot of money up front, and it's really risky because, let's face it, most businesses fail, and it's really time consuming to realize that, oh my gosh, I've just lost all this money and all this time, and I'm back to square one where I started. So, you want a new career, and you want to know why tech sales is a career path that is worth thinking about. And you also want to know how do you get all the training, all the mentoring that you need from us in order to start a top sales career in the country. And for no upfront cost. That's our specialty. So you hang on to that for a second, and we're going to revisit that because I want to be very clear. Unlike almost everything you will ever see in your life, we don't charge anything up front. Now, I want to be clear. This is not free because nothing in life is ever free, especially if it has value. It's not free. But we believe in our program and what we're doing so much that we make sure that no one pays a dime until after they're through our program, been mentored, and they're in their new job, and they're actually collecting paychecks from it before we ask for a single cent from anyone.
It's a really good offer. Like, amazing fucking
No
offer.
upfront cost is huge with what we do, and we're going to talk about that later. But going on to the next thing is, not only do you not need money, you don't need a college degree. You don't need any previous sales experience. In fact, if you don't have sales experience,
Dream outcome times what? Perceived likelihood of success. They have a lot of reviews, so.
That can be actually a bonus because there's no bad habits that you have to unlearn that you might have learned from old bad sales habits that are just icky, sticky, and they're all the worst things you've seen in Hollywood and movies that doesn't work. On top of not having sales experience, which is not necessary, you don't need any experience in the tech industry. You also don't need any experience in corporate America at all. And as far as tech proficiency goes, you don't need anything more than being able to type well, use a smartphone, and the ability to learn new software features on your computer. This probably sounds too good to be true, but stay to the end to see how it is possible. Now, right now, let me tell you about why tech sales is even worth considering.
Out your lamp, baby. Tao cao anh chặt. I fall in love with myself for one night. Damn, that shit is good, bro. Whoa. I'm not the young and your daughter. Lu halu lo dwe do that po nene kalare. Lemma ye gris gamya tunga ye jaro. Lu halu lo dwe do that po nene kalare. La la da because I died. Chinbo ni yende. Against my own mind, sound again. I look like that day, if I die, Chinbo Yende. Against my own mind, I'm your sea face, sound low bacon man. Knock knock baby bye. Dio ba miego blues is deep. Nado canzone. Don't tango plasie. Lyric ba ma salone sare. Because I just the chin bone and there. Against my gold guns, now me see face, sound of bacon man. I love the charity, because I jack the chin of on ye in there. Against my gold guns, now me see face, sound of bacon man. Okay, let's listen to song. Yo, what's up?
Morning.
Good morning.
Does it have classes today?
No, today most of the classes are taking a break because today is the big interview day.
What is something interview day?
There's like when the interviews are released and you have to schedule everything.
Did you get any interviews?
Yeah.
What interviews did you get?
I got one for investment bank. Two of them are for like an educational technology based company, and the other one is injury risk free device product thing.
Is any of them in LA?
No, I think most of them are East Coast.
Did you get any interviews for LA?
No, but there's one from California. I think there's in Belmont or something.
What?
I think one of them is from Belmont.
Belmont?
Yeah.
I don't need Belmont. Belmont is where I live to now.
No. Yeah. Right around there.
What?
Yeah.
What companies in Belmont?
The headquarters is not in Belmont, but the office that you have to work at is in Belmont.
Oh, so there's, you said, do you, what?
Around that area, Belmont, San Mateo.
So what about LA?
I don't think there's any in LA.
So, you didn't find all that?
Most of them are on Bay Area.
You didn't apply to LA?
I did, I just didn't get the interview.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And so when's your interview?
What?
When's your interview?
I don't know. I just sent them an email to schedule the interview. They haven't replied to me yet. I've been streaming for the past 2 hours.
Why?
Cause why not?
Why, yes?
What?
You're saying why not? I'm saying why, yes.
Because this is good. This is like a reminder to myself that I'm putting in the work.
Baby.
What?
Nothing. As you said, baby.
Damn.
That's so sad that you don't have anything in LA.
There is not much tech companies in LA. It's mostly in the Bay Area.
It's true.
It's either in the Bay Area, Seattle, or in the East Coast.
But I thought you didn't want to go back to Bay
I don't. But if it's a good company that I really want to work at, then that priority is over living in Bay Area.
London, England.
I don't know. The processing time is still taking. I haven't gotten the answer back.
Okay. Do they say when they're gonna send him back?
They said 2 to 3 weeks. It's been like a week and a half already, I think. Mm.
My dad was on that boat today. They had that was nice.
Okay.
There's a chance that I might be able to go to make my visa in mid-May.
You should. So that we can travel, when there's holidays, because I'm kind of sick of America.
No, but it's a very slight chance because first off, it's very expensive to go. So there's an island, it's called Barbados, near America, but it's very expensive. But they didn't have any cases of visa refusals.
Dang.
Yeah.
Where is
so-
that again?
Barbados.
Barbados?
Barbados.
Or Barbados?
What? Barbados.
No, it's called Barbados. But
Barbados.
listen to people from Barbados tell their country name Barbados. They will kill you.
Barbados. I mean, I was rushing to say Barbados.
Yeah, but it's
That's
not a
it.
Russian country.
But I'm saying how I know how to say it. Anyway, Barbados. Whatever. Yeah, but the thing is that it really depends on what's gonna be with my brother, how much it all costs, because I need to, in Russia, we need to change our passport in 20,
Mm.
and so it'll be good for me to
stay. Oh God, I want to go to Mexico. I want to go to Canada.
But mostly the diversity needs a volunteering thing.
Yeah.
We come out, and if some of us get sick, then I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
We can look at it. There might be April, but there's still a lot of things we have to look at before deciding to go there.
Yeah.
But
May's boys is he had a DV, so his whole family moved here.
that's nice.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people
But
like
when did you get it?
we got him like 2, 3 years ago. Dude.
No, how old was he?
How old was he?
Yes.
He was 25, so probably around 21, 20.
It's very big difference if he was 20 or 21.
Why?
If he was 20, and his parents were applying to, he was part of their application. So that's why he was able to move everyone here.
But if you're under 21, then you can.
Yeah, but as long as when he turned 21, you cannot apply with your parents anymore. So you apply alone, and if you get your visa, you get a green card. And only after you live here for 5 years and you have a passport confirmation here. So it's a very big difference. Yeah. But anyway, my mom mentioned that I might be able to do visa, and
2025 is
that was
crazy.
nice. But I don't know yet. Probably no. Chances small, but I'll see. It's the end of story. And visas for 1 year anyway, so if I get it in May, it's gonna be like till May. So it's only gonna travel like once in the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Well,
Let's see.
what else can you tell me?
You okay, babe. I gotta go to like there's like event that's going on in Crawford.
What's going on?
There's like an information session in Crawford. I need to attend it.
Okay.
Alright, have a great day, babe.
You too. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Di casa già te ce le vite under mago sucking that cold.
သားကမဖွေးမင်းတို့အကြောင်းဆောင်တော့လေချင်းတိုင်းဝေးထွက်ပြေး Sorry, please don't worry. She's in the show. Don't be no change. I'm not at conversation. I do like I let out be the break the man to check. Do let on me in and let me like you. Change the boat, but we do our inside move. I don't give a shit. You don't like me. Any move I don't know all the time. She got me out of my no FJ. Here's my go on the side. Yeah, nice and I do it on me. When you're going, you're not there alone. We get it now. Don't let it different.
Am I gonna get copyrighted for this?
Check play, baby, she rolling. Go to your day. She all night and land with it. It's on our way to it. Chile, love your zone. Go to your day.
would love to listen to Waikiki, but I'm gonna get copyright on this bitch ass. Somebody love boy since I left. Ba piacere, dai sangue vive, Gioia way dopo a mamma piora e men valore Piera biemlage, ya te me. Hey, thought you looked at you alone. Hold on. Man. Đi cho nói nên lăn đuổi lại
Recording in progress.
I think you're good.
Andrew, just let me know what.
You're good.
Alrighty, welcome everyone, and thank you all for joining today's Bet on Entrepreneurship or BOE info session. Our agenda today is as follows. The info session will include 3 key chapters, if you will. First, we will kick things off with an overview of the BOE program and spend about 10 minutes talking about that. This will be followed by part 2 of BOE student alumni panel representing each of Penn's 4 undergraduate schools. The students will reflect on and share with you about their experiences in the BOE program, and we will spend most of our time with them. This will be followed by audience Q&A for about 10 minutes, after which the program will conclude. We're hosting this info session in collaboration with our colleagues at Penn First Plus, Wharton STEP, Advancing Women in Engineering, and of course our BOE student alumni. So with that, let's get started. First, I would like to introduce you to my colleagues, Jill Anick, who is the Director of Venture Labs Investors and Explorers, and Taylor Durham, Venture Labs Director of Marketing and Digital Design Studios.
Damn.
The BOE program will be managed by Jill and her team, and as mentioned earlier, we will have time for audience Q&A, which Taylor will be leading. So please submit your questions via the Zoom chat. Thank you, Jill and Taylor. So for those of you just meeting Venture Lab for the first time, Venture Lab is a resource for any Penn student who's interested in entrepreneurship and innovation. We serve all students across the university, undergraduate to graduate, all schools who aspire to be leaders in the startup ecosystem. Venture Lab is located in Tangen Hall, which is down at 40th and Sansom, just around the corner from the McDonald's, which is under construction right now. And our dedicated team is committed to helping our community of students who are interested in entrepreneurship and innovation maximize their ability to address important challenges through entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial thinking. So how do we do this? Well, our programs are aligned to pathways, whether it's founder, joiner, investor, navigator, and explorer, mirroring the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And each pathway features programs and resources specific to it. So today we will be talking about one of these programs, Bet on Entrepreneurship. So about BOE. Well, the Bet on Entrepreneurship program provides current first-year students, or quote, rising sophomores, that is the class of 2027 at Penn, who identify as first-generation or limited income, or FIGLY, with a unique opportunity to gain experience in entrepreneurship at VC firms in the San Francisco Bay Area over the course of the summer. So key program details. We will be accepting a cohort of 14 students. Accepted students are required to complete the pre-immersion spring program, which is a boot camp. We'll review the program elements in subsequent slides. All required program elements, including dates, will be discussed here, and they'll also be noted in the application, so please review everything. You must be able to participate in all spring 2024 programming. You must be able to travel and live in San Francisco for the full duration of the summer and participate in all summer programming. All accepted students will receive a grant of $10,000 upon successful completion of the required program elements, and this grant will be dispersed in tranches. The cohort will participate in an 8-week summer immersive program with the host venture firms, and the duration of the summer program overall is 9 weeks. So here are some examples of the last summer's host firms here. There were 6 firms who hosted our 14 students, so they're noted here. And all of these firms were hosted by alumni within those companies. So here's an overview of the program timeline. So again, the application deadline is December 3rd, right before midnight. So the application deadline is before this date. Start early and budget plenty of time. The application requires different elements that you have to prepare. For example, there are 5 essays of up to 400 words. We are requesting information about your engagement in activities and clubs and your level of engagement. For example, a leadership role versus a membership role. There's an optional recommendation letter and a video upload. In addition to that, just hitting submit takes time, so don't wait till the last minute. There will be no extension, so please budget as much time as possible to prepare your information. This will be followed by a selection committee process, and the program cohort will receive invitations by the last week of January, i.e. those students that we've accepted, and that cohort will be finalized by February 2nd. This will be followed immediately by the spring boot camp, which will take place on Fridays from February 9th through April 19th, Fridays in the afternoon from 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. We'll review that curriculum shortly. After that, the conclusion of the boot camp, summer assignments will be announced. The cohort will land in San Francisco on Tuesday, May 28th. That's right after Memorial Day. And that will be immediately followed by cohort orientation at the Wharton San Francisco campus, where the students will be housed. And then that will be followed by a program kickoff with all of the VC partner firms in attendance, and the cohort also, and that will take place on the Wharton San Francisco campus. After that, the official summer immersion program starts the following Monday, where your work week will begin. And the summer immersion program will end at the end of July. On the 26th, we'll have a closing meeting again with the venture firm partners, during which the students will present their final presentations about the summer. So here is a little bit about the pre-immersion spring boot camp. It is 7 weeks of programming, and the objective is to set the cohort up for success. Ultimately, we'll be reviewing information about Venture Capital 101, so the cohort will understand the language and vocabulary they will be hearing, understand the context for the projects that they'll be working on, really by fundamentals. These sessions will be led by professors and experts across the university, and participation is mandatory, so students must be able to attend all 7 sessions in order to access the program grant and to be part of the cohort. So here is an example of some of the program modules. We had alumni entrepreneurs come visit with us and speak to the students about their experiences. We had Professor Jeffrey Babin lead the VC 101 module, to discuss and set the foundation for all the students about venture capital industry, what it is from the perspective of the entrepreneur and also from the investor. We led a research boot camp, which Lippincott hosted for all of the students in creating resources for them, not only during the boot camp, but also throughout the summer. In addition, there will be career service modules and public speaking and other modules, including financial planning, for example. Once that takes place, the boot camp is concluded, there's going to be a matching process that aligns what the VC firms need with the students' interests and skill sets. And we found that the pairings over the past summer, 2 summers, have been quite successful for all parties involved. So here again is an overview of the key summer immersion program details. So as far as dates, a kickoff event takes place when you arrive on campus at Wharton San Francisco the day after your arrival, on Thursday and Friday in May, at the end of May. That will be followed by the 8-week summer immersion program, which runs from the full month of June and the full month of July. You will be showing up and you're working with your VC firms for 5 days a week. In addition, you'll be meeting with the Venture Lab team. We'll have check-ins weekly to understand kind of where things are going, and if you need support from us. We also have check-ins with the venture firms, again, so we can course correct and address in real time anything that comes up along the way. In addition, although students are matched with their firms one-on-one, usually there's 2 students matched per firm, the whole cohort will meet together at each of the firms, because there'll be a teaching rotation hosted by the venture firms that host the whole entire cohort. And finally, there will be a closing event at the end of July. So here are the eligibility overview. Again, you must be, this program is open to current first-year Penn undergraduate students, so you are in the class of 2027. These are for students who identify as FIGLY per Penn's guidelines. You're able to participate in all program elements, including the spring boot camp, which begins in February, it runs until April 19th, and you're able to travel to and live in San Francisco for a full duration of the summer immersion program, i.e. you're landing at the end of May, and then you can stay and work through the end of July. Here are the application requirements. So there is a registration form where you submit your information, acknowledge the terms of agreement, which reviews the eligibility and some of the program elements we've just discussed. There's an application form. As I mentioned, there are essays that we request of the students, examples of activities and engagement here on campus, your resume, a personal video, and an optional letter of recommendation for these 5 key components. So how do you apply? Well, in terms of process, you will have to go to the BOE website on the Venture Lab website. We'll drop the link in the chat today. You'll select the Bet on Entrepreneurship program. You'll see a list of programs that Venture Lab hosts, and you'll be applying to BOE, so look for that link. That'll prompt you to log into SurveyMonkey Apply with your PEN key. So if you don't already have a SurveyMonkey Apply account or SMA account, you'll need to create one. And then you'll be prompted to complete the tasks required. And when you're done, you hit submit. So now we're going to shift into the panel discussion with our esteemed BOE alumni. I'm going to introduce them here, and then I'll stop sharing the screen so you can meet with them in person. We have with us today Sitiana, who is part of the Healthcare Management Program, which is a joint degree program with the nursing school and Wharton. We have Amanda, who is a dual degree student with Wharton and the college, and she was part of Cohort 1. We have Lavina joining us, who's a Wharton student, and she was just completed the BOE program this summer. We have Shakina, who's an engineering student, and she was part of Cohort 1. And we have Khalida, who's an M&T student, which is the dual degree program with engineering in Wharton, and he just completed his experience this summer. So please join me in welcoming our panelists. Thank you, everybody.
Damn, that Zoom shit is really good. They just pan everyone. It's
All right,
like
so
it's
we're gonna
fucking
get
nice.
started. I think for review, I think Andrew, you're gonna spotlight the panelists so everybody can see them in one screen. You can see that? Okay, great. So thank you everybody for joining us. I'm gonna start with kind of about your experience, which I think the students are really curious about. And if you could each take a turn in saying, sharing, what your experience with entrepreneurship and VC and startups in general did you have before the BOE program? And I'll start with my squares on the board. I'll start with Shakina, and then folks, the other panelists, you can jump in from there.
Hi everyone, so I have a really short answer to this question. I had zero experience with entrepreneurship or business whatsoever before I got in. As a matter of fact, I didn't really entirely know what VC was. I don't know if you remember Irina, but in my video for my application, I discussed that I only knew about VC because I loved romance novels. And in one of the romance novels, it was a venture capitalist that she had fallen in love with. And that's how I knew what VC was. But in terms of real world applicable experience, I had none.
You know what? Everyone smiling does give a good vibe. I'll give you that much.
During my time with SoftBank over the summer.
Thanks, Shakina.
SoftBank.
Amanda?
Yeah, I also have the same short answer. I had no idea what venture capital was. I actually came into Penn as a college major and ended up picking up my Wharton degree. Irina had mentioned I'm an uncoordinated dual degree student. Actually, after my experience in venture capital over the summer, my only experience with quote unquote the venture capital was Shark Tank. I used to watch it a lot growing up, and I wrote my application about Shark Tank and how I could see myself either pitching or being in the seat of an investor. And now I'm very involved with Venture Lab, and I still am involved with entrepreneurship and venture capital in some ways on campus, so I would say it's a very transformative experience.
Thanks, Amanda. Khalida, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd done like some nonprofit stuff, like trying to start a nonprofit in high school, but like I didn't have like super formative experiences, and like VC especially, like definitely learned mainly through the program. I came to campus, I didn't know what VC was anyway, so similar to everyone else.
Okay, how about you, Sitiana?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I had no idea what VC meant. I did join like entrepreneurship clubs freshman fall, so I got like that sense, but I didn't really have any idea what the VC ecosystem was about. So yeah.
And Lavina?
Yeah, so when I grew up, my mom actually owned a business, so growing up in the environment, that was kind of my first exposure to entrepreneurship. But in terms of like actual like venture capital, I didn't really know what that was until I came to Penn. I'm also from the Bay Area, so the startup space is like really booming, but I never really got to digest that until this past summer.
Thanks, everybody. So I'm sure on everybody's mind, or at least one of the things we mentioned was that boot camp in the spring, which takes place every Friday starting February and in March in most of your cases. Every Friday from 3:30 to 6:30. So after class, you have another 3 hours of immersion in entrepreneurship, VC, and all the other modules. So
That
how did you
sounds
balance
fucking
schoolwork
great.
and the boot camp? So I'll let you guys jump in whenever you want.
I actually thought it was a great introduction to what like venture capital is, but now as a junior, I'm taking 2 3-hour-long classes on Mondays and Thursdays, and I genuinely believe that this introductory boot camp was a great start to that. I also think it's just a great building to be in. Like Venture Tangen Hall has so much lighting, so 3:30 to 6:30 kind of flies by. And also because it's in your second semester rather than starting now.
Well,
you have a
girls
lot
are
more time
taking
to adjust
over,
to
eh?
current school and
Where the boys
like,
at?
balance that out before you actually commit to this program. But I would say it's not as bad as people think it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd say it was really manageable. If you're fully attentive during the boot camp, then you save yourself a lot of time throughout the week because you don't really need to catch up as much. So I guess I could recommend you do that.
Yeah, I'd say similar to Amanda. It kind of felt like the time would just pass by. They typically divide our sessions into 2, and we have dinner in between. So you do like the first half, and then everyone would like sit together and talk and have dinner, and then the second half. I feel like it really wasn't that bad for me. I'd say just make sure your Friday quiz, if you're still taking any of the maths, are like earlier in the morning so you can get to class on time. But yeah, it's definitely not that bad. It flies by. And I think because it's on a Friday where most things, like most of your work for the week has been due, like you're done, it feels nice to just have that time with like your friends and to kind of make connections where you know you're going to get to spend the whole summer together later on. So yeah, it was a good experience for me overall.
Yeah, and just adding, I think it was really engaging at times. Like we had guest speakers come in, like startup founders, and like we just like got to be so exposed to the environment and learn so much, and also like hear from each firm. So I think like within that time we were able to pass like so much knowledge that you're able to like be prepared and like go into the summer like being fully prepared. So I think that it was really helpful.
Yeah, I think the boot camp was I'm surprised that everyone's saying amazing things. Like it was long. 3 hours is a long time, guys. Like I understand that, but no, it's definitely fun. Like, if you come like actually like looking like ask questions.
Sometimes the questions are
the people that the VCs are sending, you're gonna learn a lot. And honestly, like I thought it was a good experience and definitely prepared us well for the summer.
What were some of the key things you learned either through the boot camp or the immersion as you reflect on it, because it's informed maybe your path going forward? So I guess to take a pause and kind of reflect on some of the key things you learned to share with the students who are curious about that. Can you impart some of that to folks here?
I can go ahead and get started. I think one of the main things I learned was the significance of being interdisciplinary. When I started the program, I was a little bit nervous that I was an engineering major. I studied bioengineering to be specific. Going into this space, I felt like I wouldn't really have the skills that all of my other peers would have, and I'd kind of be behind. And when I was at SoftBank, we did a lot of coffee chats with different investors during the summer, and quite a few of them had engineering degrees. And I would always ask them, like, why did you study engineering? And if you did, how did you end up here? And do you think it's hindered your growth? Do you think it's like been like an edge that you have that others don't? And their answer was typically the latter, that they feel like it's helped them having a different background, having a different set of expertise. So I'm not sure if there are any engineers on the call right now, but I feel like if you are, don't be discouraged, right? Like you're bringing something unique that other majors won't have, and this can be an edge for you if you leverage your skills properly in the workplace. So that's definitely something that I learned, and it's helped me as I've like continued on trying to get other internships and trying to figure out the best way to market myself to employers in the interview process.
Alana, what would you like to, what are some key things you learned either through the boot camp or through the immersion, would you say?
Yeah, I feel like through the boot camp, honestly, just like the first like 2 sessions at least, where Jeffrey just kind of like learning into like just like overall VC 101, and those were huge. And then towards the end, we really started like breaking down like, I mean, I'm saying like a cap table. That's something that you guys like probably like end up not knowing what that is later. Like you do like we did this like interactive session where it's like you have to like be mock investors and like pick like which was like the best way to finance this like deal, and like honestly we didn't end up doing a lot of that in the immersion, but like I just thought it was really cool to be able to at least understand it and like be able to talk about that with the, like other investors at the firm, even though they probably aren't going to put all that responsibility onto you. So definitely really good things to learn, and that you probably wouldn't learn otherwise.
I personally, in all candidness, I think that this program really exposes every student who participates in it to like the general VC entrepreneurship space. Like obviously as a freshman, you're not going to be modeling or doing specific quantitative work while you're working in an immersion program, but the boot camp tries to kind of prepare you for a future that could potentially look like that. So like Lana said already, but Professor Babin did a really good job introducing us all to what venture capital looks like and what the ecosystem space looks like. And once you're like in San Francisco and you're working at a firm, you really get a good grasp of how everything functions, how venture capital firms are somewhat also kind of entrepreneurship like, and you get put on deals and have a great exposure to what everything looks like from a very like intern level, but I do think that it still gives you a really good understanding of the overall space, which I was really, really appreciative of.
Yeah, I think both the boot camp and the summer immersion, specifically the teach-ins, really helped me gauge how nuanced VC can be, because like all the firms like invest in like different industries or like implement different diligence strategies, and like through BOE you're really able to like kind of gauge that. I think also in retrospect, the immersion like was like my first ever real corporate job. So one of the biggest things I learned was professional work etiquette and kind of experiencing what work culture is like, at least in the VC industry. And I think it's a really great opportunity for you to get an idea of what being a full-fledged adult is like, in terms of balancing like commute, work, and also having time for yourself.
Yeah, and I would say like it helps to like understand how VC ties within your own passions and like intersection. Like I'm within nursing, like I think I came in like really interested in healthcare and I still am, but I didn't really know how like that tied within VC, and so working with like a healthcare investor and seeing how that plays a role. Like I know a lot of people, like there's certain people that work with like AI and sustainability, so you're able to tie in like your passions into the space, which I think is really nice, and you're able to see like that intersection.
I'm sure folks are also thinking about, as you shared what you learned, they're imagining what it was like for you day to day in the summer. Could you share, I know it's captured, there's so many, and maybe if there's a way to distill what that was like, you know, personally, professionally, what was it like, and then to share like what firms you were at, because that may have informed that culture and that experience. So who'd like to start with what your day to day like was in the summer? I know it takes a minute to kind of, how do you distill all of that, right? Because it was a lot, but I saw a lot of growth across from everybody, from day 1 to, you know, day 60, if you will. Tatiana, I'm gonna cold call in the Penn way.
I'll start. Okay, so usually we would wake up. I don't know. I'll just use my example, but wake up around like 7 to 8 and then head to work. We would usually like travel together. So I worked at First Round and there was 4 people, so like the 4 of us would go together. Usually like through like the bus, or we would Uber together, and then we'd get to work, and then usually we would contact our like point of contact or the person that we were working under. So we would meet with that investor for a little bit and just like debrief on like what we would be working on throughout the day. Usually my summer consisted of like main projects, so I would just like work on those projects, and then if my like investor had like a pitch call, I would sit in on those calls. So I think it like varied throughout the day, but usually it would consist of just like working on a project. And then during lunch, like our office provided us lunch on some days, so we would like sit together with all the investors. It was really nice because like you get to talk with everyone and like share how your day has been and just hear everyone's story. So I think that brought in like a good work culture. And then after work, I guess we would all like come back, and then sometimes we would, you know, as a cohort do something that day or that week. I know like we had different events, especially like with Irina, like we went to like baseball games and like did just fun activities together. So that was really nice to like rewind on the day. But yeah, I think it just varies, but hopefully that helps.
I also worked at First Round Capital, but I was in the first cohort. And Luckily, the office was a 7-minute walk from where I live, so it was a great work-life balance. It was very easy to get to work, come back. But me and the other students who worked at First Sound Capital, we still made it go to work at the same time and walk there together and then leave together. So I think which is very sweet because we all kind of got up together, got ready, and then kind of made our way to the office. It was kind of during the remote work era, so the office was mostly empty from like 1 to 2 days, but then when people came into work, it was always packed, and that was perfect timing. They had a lot of lunches and like even some after work events that they had invited the interns to for us to just meet all of the coworkers. I ended up coffee chatting everyone at my office, even the partners, which was really, really cool. But that would be from 9 to 5. I worked on an individual project as well, and we kind of rotated between projects and had a point of person, as Tatiana had mentioned. But after work, it was really fun because there was also Planet Fitness near our hotel, or where we had stayed. So all of us, or a good majority of us, would go to Planet Fitness together. And there was like a free program for teenagers, and at that time we were teenagers. So it was kind of like a really adulting experience where we would go to work, go to the gym, and there was no kitchen in our place, but we would get Trader Joe's food and all gather, and sometimes heat up some food. I think the living experience is different nowadays, but during the inaugural program, it was a very great balance of going to work, debriefing, going to the gym, eating food. But at night, we would explore and go on hikes on the weekends. San Francisco is beautiful. I'm from New York City originally, and that's a lot to say. If I'm saying that San Francisco is beautiful, but I really enjoyed the experience, and I got really close with everyone that was in my cohort.
How about you, Lavina? What are some of the key things you do? I mean, some day-to-day, kind of where were you at, and personally and professional?
Yeah, so I was working at Floodgate, which is actually in the Silicon Valley, and so we were living in SF, so my commute every day, it was pretty hefty. I'd probably wake up at like around 5:30 or 6 every morning, and then my co-intern and I would take the Caltrain over to Menlo Park, which was where we worked 9 to 5. Our day-to-day role typically involved writing investment memos to inform strategies for potential follow-on investments, but besides that, we also got an opportunity to engage with the Reactors, which is Floodgate's accelerator program, so we got to meet a lot of people who were a part of that program. Floodgate is also a really inviting environment. We got to work alongside all the associates, and we got dinner and like lunches with them. A lot of them went to Stanford, and they even invited Alvin, my co-intern, and I to have a picnic with them one time afterwards, so that was really sweet. And then after work, I commuted back, typically get back around like 7 or so, and then we lived really close to Golden Gate Park, so I'd go running there like probably every day for about an hour or so, and then I'd come back home and then catch up with my roommate. And I feel like even though we do have pretty long work days, there's always still time to like hang out with the rest of the cohort. So we had a lot of like movie nights, we watched a lot of Black Mirror, and yeah, and then I'd say the weekends involve exploring the city. It's like really beautiful. I'm from there originally, but there's a lot of pockets of SF that I never even knew existed.
Which is typically a world leader. This is not now.
Anesthesia
gives you a flower, and then your whole kind of.
Did you already talk about it?
I did. Having the rough edit.
Paula.
3 hours.
Yeah, so this summer I was at Forerunner, and then we were staying in USF. Forerunners in a place called Presidio. Probably, I mean, you don't hear about it if you don't get there, but it was like a 15-20 minute bus ride. So me and my other intern Olivia, we would wake up maybe like 7 something, and then like there was always this one like bus, like the 8:18 bus that we were trying to get on, and then if you missed it, it was like, oh no, I was like 8:31 or whatever. But we got on the uni, like it was kind of free, it kind of wasn't free. It was kind of free. And that's how we would go to the office, try and get there like before 9 or like around 9. Same thing, like 9 to 5. I think the day to day was always like different. Like we were doing a lot of research this summer, but like we also had a lot of autonomy to just kind of like ask them like, can we hop on a call with you? Can we, can you guys just teach us more about what you're like diving into? Like we're like looking into like what spaces they're going into. So it was definitely super interesting and like touched on a lot of like different points because everyone's doing something different. And that's also what you're gonna learn when you're like at the firms. Like even though they all like have the same role, like everyone's doing something like insanely different, just depending on whatever they're interested in. And then I think what was also like very, I don't know, like revealing because again, like similar to like looking at it's like my first like kind of corporate job, like you really see the separation of like after like 5, like yeah, the rest of the day is kind of like whatever you wanted to do. So like we come back, sometimes we go on a run like Golden Gate Park, sometimes like we go thrifting, sometimes like we just there's just like kind of infinite amount of things you could do. A lot of Black Mirror was watched. This is true. Like yeah, ways to just kind of tap into the cohort outside of work, and we were always like looking for fun things to do.
That's great. Can you also share, I mean, part of this program is the entrepreneur experience, so definitely from the lens and from the role of the venture investor, which informs what startups get to get invested in and, probably have a little bit more success because of that. Could you also share your experience and exposure from the entrepreneurship side, from the entrepreneur side of the house and with startups? Some of the things that you worked on, some of the things, that you learned or that were memorable?
I actually had a really amazing experience with the startup that I was paired with through First Round Capital. So I was working with First Round Capital and simultaneously also was paired with Claire, which is one of the startups they had invested in, and it's a low VOC paint startup. I've never bought paint in my life. I don't paint often, but it's for painting walls and furniture, and I ended up getting to meet everyone on the team virtually. But I was primarily doing a lot of customer personas and looking at their CRM software, just to understand what touch points we can access customers through. And it was a very small team that I actually ended up meeting in New York City when they had a retreat. And after the summer had ended, we stayed in contact still while I was working with them through First Round Capital. And I think it was in September of the summer after the experience where we went to New York together, and I met the startup founder and the CEO and everyone on the team that I met virtually in person. And I was able to really get a good grasp of what it feels like to work in a startup, even though it was kind of virtually at first. I was able to meet them afterwards. But overall, the experience is very interesting to contrast against First Round Capital. But it was really cool to see how, at least at my firm, it was a lot of investing in the people and the idea as well. But I was able to get a glimpse into what support a venture capital firm actually provides to, for example, one of the investments they make, but also understand the due diligence process that occurs before they make that investment.
Yeah, I also worked at First Round, so it was very early stage, which meant that we saw a lot of companies and worked a lot with founders, especially post investment. So there was go-to-market teams and community teams. So that was really cool to see because obviously I was working with a certain investor, but also I was working with that side. It was really interesting because I've never been on a pitch call before, obviously, and I went into it thinking it was Shark Tank, just judges just staring you down. But honestly, the pitch calls were really interesting because you really got to see how a founder creates their idea and all their strategies and how they're talking with the investor and the types of questions they're asking. And it was really cool to see that sense and how the investor is just communicating with the founder. And I think in that sense you get to see their entrepreneurship journey. And I got to be on so many pitch calls, and it's great to see everybody's perspective and their journeys in that. So I think that was really cool to see that entrepreneurship space and what investors think of certain startups, so and their investment strategies. So I really like that part of.
Lena, about you?
Yeah. So I touched on this previously, but Floodgate had this incubator/accelerator program called Reactors, which had a lot of college students. So it was kind of really eye-opening to see how there's people who are my age who are actually so committed to founding a startup. And I feel especially at Penn, you're kind of sucked into the idea that finance and consulting are the only I guess appropriate career paths, especially for a student at Wharton. But I think this summer experience really exposed me to the fact that not everyone wants to do that path. And I think I also realized that entrepreneurship is not a linear path itself either. Floodgate brought in Logan Green, who is one of the co-founder of Glyphs, and a lot of other co-founders Steve Blank, and then the founder of Applied Intuition. And so hearing about their entrepreneurial journeys was also really inspiring. And I think that was a really great way for me to be exposed to entrepreneurship outside of like investing.
What about you, Keenan? Did you work with startups, and was your exposure with some of that side of the house?
Yeah, I definitely work with startups. So I was at SoftBank. I specifically worked with the Opportunity Fund within SoftBank. And one of the largest parts of my time over the summer was pitch calls with new founders. They had a really strong pipeline. So I was sitting in on probably like 5 to 8 pitch calls a week. Like not a day went by that I wasn't on at the very least one pitch call. And it was really interesting just getting to hear all the new ideas, getting to hear how passionate the founder was. And for a little bit of context about the Opportunity Fund, they specifically invest in Black, Latinx, and Native American founders. It was the fund was created after the death of George Floyd. George Floyd. So a lot of times we would sit in the calls and talk to the founders, and at the end of the calls, they would express how much like inspiration they got from getting to sit in front.
Can I just say something, bro? Like, this shit is getting quite, I don't know, competitive per se. Like going into these things just makes you realize how unspecial you are. Like, everyone have goals and everyone thinks, but just pick one thing and keep working on it until you fucking succeed, bro. That's the only thing I can do. Just keep working like a fucking dog. You know what I mean? Like, just grind all the time. Think about money, talk about money, fantasize about money, dream about money. Fucking when you're jerking off, thinking about money. You know, Matthew McConaughey type shit.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, as like Ravina was saying, 400 is like mainly investing in consumer, so more like public facing companies. I think like we basically like again I was saying did a lot of research. Like so our first project, which was really interesting. Like a way that we were kind of able to leverage all the companies is like, you know, if there's something that just happens to come up that like maybe there's a random company that like is doing that. So I was like looking into a lot of like education stuff, and like they invested in like a bunch of like, you know, like different like tutoring companies or like edtech companies. So like I was able to like talk to a lot of like the CEOs of those startups, and like, you know, they would tell me about like one like their adventure and like, you know, their journey through entrepreneurship, but then also like, you know, now it's just specifically happening. It's like changing, you know, random different models of like how they're actually operating, because coming out of COVID especially, like so many of them had to, you know, pivot. But then also we had a portfolio support project. So my company I was working with was a parenting company, so like obviously like I had no idea what was going on. But just having to like look into like all the different you know, the considerations that like the CEO, whose name was Alan, had to make, and even then like being so early stage, like he actually came to Forerunner with just an idea, like he didn't have a product yet, but they just thought he was like a really like good founder for like what he was trying to like build for, and then he had a really interesting like way to kind of go to market, so they just backed it with literally no idea. So I was kind of helping to even like be like, okay, here are some things that you should prioritize like, for your product. This is me, like again, just being like a college student who doesn't really like have much experience, so definitely it was again like just such an interesting thing to be able to kind of work with. Again, just kind of showing how there's such different sides of things that you can do in VC.
As you guys all mentioned, like you know, maybe it's that kind of specifically, but you know, career path and getting ahead is always on one's mind. Can you share with folks how has this experience informed your life? And how has it informed the choices that you would explore after POE? How has that influenced you, and how have you thought about that pathway and then your life in general? Amanda, I see you nodding, so I'm going to turn to you.
Yeah, I can keep going. I think, quite frankly, entrepreneurship changed the trajectory of my life. I think having the experience to go to San Francisco, and as we had all kind of recounted, live somewhat of an adult experience, but still understand what it means to have this work-life balance, changed how I viewed my career and what I wanted to do in the future. I came into Penn, again, as I said, in college. I had no idea what I wanted to do, let alone do finance, but I ended up actually applying to another investment program called Grow to Invest that I ended up doing my sophomore summer, because I wanted to continue learning and building on those fundamental skills that I had developed during Ben Entrepreneurship. I also knew that through the experience I wanted to continue working in venture capital in the long run, but I needed to build those core skills before I actually jumped into the industry. And I think that's something that you end up kind of gathering throughout your experience at whatever firm you end up choosing or end up being paired at. But through a lot of coffee chats, I realized that maybe I'm more on the investing route rather than the entrepreneurship route. And a lot of my peers differed where they decided they wanted to do more entrepreneurship. But after understanding that about myself and what I wanted to do, I kind of set out like a timeline where maybe in 2 years after grad, I would venture into the venture capital space or do something more so consumer retail, because I also realized that I like that space while being paired with Claire, the paint startup that I mentioned before. So it helped me kind of determine where I want to be in 2 to 3 years after grad. But I did the Gross Invest program during my sophomore summer, which followed the Ben Entrepreneurship program, which I also loved and would love to speak to. If anyone's interested, you can also email me afterwards. And this summer I'll be going to BlackRock and I'll be working on the capital markets team with the equity private markets division because I want to work in the private sector rather than the public sector. But the initial experience that I had in San Francisco really informed my experience and preferences on where I want to end up in 2 to 3 years, which guided me in choosing which programs I wanted to do and what I applied for when I was actually recruiting. And I'll probably be returning to BlackRock full-time for 2 years and then pivoting towards the VC and retail space post that experience.
What about you, Shakina?
Yeah, I can definitely relate to what Amanda said. I think this program helped me in 2 ways. The first is the most obvious, that it just looked good on my resume to say that I did this program at Penn and at SoftBank. Like every time I'm in an interview, they're always so shocked to hear that I have that opportunity as a freshman because it's something that's practically unheard of. And when I explain the whole program to them, they're always so amazed, and they always just tell me how like blessed I am that I had the chance to do that as a freshman, and I 100% agree. So right off the bat, like it just looks good, right? And then secondly, I feel like while I was there over the summer, I had the opportunity to coffee chat with a lot of different investors. And from those conversations, I got to better understand like what it was that I enjoyed at SoftBank, what I didn't like so much, and then putting those together and seeing like what else is there that'll like meet my needs specifically, right? And from those conversations, I started to learn about other divisions of finance that I've never heard of, like asset management, which is what I pursued the next summer. So after SoftBank, I moved on to Fidelity, and I was a discovery intern there last summer, and I'll be returning there this summer as a direct lending intern in their private credit division. And I think that a lot of my conversations in SoftBank, the fact that I got to be honest and say, hey, like I really like, getting to meet with founders, but I don't like the fact that we're a little bit hands off post investment, and just being honest and telling them like every little bit of the things that I love and the things that I don't love, it really helped me just create an idea that helped me figure out exactly what I wanted to do for my recruiting for the next summer. That's something that I struggled with a lot before BOE, where I was like, okay, I'm interested in finance, but like, what does it mean to be interested in finance? Like, there's 100 different routes you can take. So I think just having those different experiences and then helping you narrow down what you're most interested in, that helped me a lot in my recruiting journey for the next summer.
Dina?
Yeah, I'd say for me, working at Floodgate really allowed me to pinpoint what industry I'm interested in. So my firm particularly invested in technology companies, and I think technology is really cool, but what I've realized is that I prefer something that's more tangible. And so from there, I kind of made the realization that I'm more interested in the consumer space. So I'm going to be carrying that knowledge with me moving on and like whatever recruiting takes place in the future. Agreeing with Amanda, I also think that VC is really cool, but I don't think it's something that I would exactly partake in until I develop like the core foundational skills first. For this summer, I'm still recruiting for that, but I did apply to Girls Who Invest too, so hopefully that can work out. And I'd say after spending the whole summer on early stage companies, I'm really interested in exploring more mature companies, so PEs or private equity is something that's definitely of interest to me.
Yeah, I guess like as someone who's currently going through the recruiting cycle, like I don't really have the you know the ending prospects that the cohort 1 is talking about, but it definitely has informed you know, how I'm thinking about going forward. I feel like it takes away a lot of the stress, especially just because you know you just become, I don't know, maybe you become less risk averse, for lack of a better word, because you just kind of get to see a lot of the entrepreneurs. I mean, I remember in one of the teach-ins with, was it the Floodgate? Or no, it was with Emmeline. It was with Emmeline, and they brought in one of their founders for a company called Skipify, and he was just kind of like going in about like, you know, like it's all in, like, you know, there's no point doing the track lifestyle, blah blah blah. And he was just saying like how it's just really okay to kind of like let go and just like, even if you jump in for like 1 year, 2 years, just really try and like do something that you're fully invested in, as opposed to just like kind of working for someone else. And like if it works out, then it works out, and if it doesn't, at least you tried. So definitely like I was stressed out about like, oh my gosh, this consulting job, this finance job, and entrepreneurship seems like a, you know, very enticing pathway. I'd say like right now, like I applied like some of those like VC fellowships, like
that is the cancellation of
working on. So you know, still kind of wanting to stay within the ecosystem a little bit. But yeah, definitely open my eyes to like being.
I already deleted the. What is your problem?
Yeah, and I would say for me, obviously like I came in like not knowing what VC was at all, and I guess like mainly came in like really interested in like healthcare and that intersection of like business and finance, and then like obviously I went through the program.
It's not on you, Stace. It's just your.
VC and like had so much exposure.
It's not on you. It's not on you. It's on Blue Console LLC. You can't do it on individual you, because I didn't even put your W-2 code in there. I put my taxpayer account from the company, so it's not on you.
People who worked in consulting, people who worked in IB. There's like so many different pathways to get.
No, it's because the account is individual. Before it was professional. The account name is individual and professional.
Background knowledge on different industries and like have a lot of technical skills too.
It's not on you,
so
Stace.
I wanted to just get that, I guess, a little bit. So like next summer, like I'll be in IB, so I think like getting that background first.
Because it's your name. Because it's your passport that we put it. Because my passport wasn't free yet. Remember?
It's just an amazing space, and I had an amazing time. And I really like early stage as well. So just figuring out like what you like, whether that be like growth stage.
It's on the business, but the passport thing. Remember we put it in together.
To like in my interviews, I cannot.
It's just your name on the account. Doesn't mean the tax that from your account is gonna go to you. Because you only have your passport number. It doesn't have your SSN or it does have your SSN, but it doesn't have. Yeah, I know you do, but I promise you, it's not on you. It's on the business.
I think I emphasize this in whenever people ask me.
I already did. I can't fully close it. It's on vacation mode. That's the only thing I can do.
College applications, it kind of applies here as well, but acknowledging your experience and your past.
I'll try again to delete it. Okay.
Vulnerable is an advice that I give everyone. I think just knowing the audience of who is applying and who.
It's not on you, Stace. I promise you, it's not on you.
Low-income students, and everyone has such a unique background here. And I'm sure everyone in the audience also has such a unique background, where it's really, really important to highlight the struggles and also the successes that you've had throughout your life. Just to get to Penn, I think, is a huge achievement.
What?
And I'm not receiving applications, but I'm sure the ones reading the applications.
Because I told you that I've taken care of it already. You keep asking me questions, even though I told you I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Brings you to apply to BOE.
I get you're worried. I get you're fucking worried.
I'd say my advice is a little bit.
I already told you it's not on you.
It would just be to just keep an open.
I told you from the start.
Try to think about everything in the most positive light possible. For example, for me, my year, I was at SoftBank, like I said, and the office was in Palo Alto, which is about like an hour, maybe more than an hour and a half from the hotel that we were staying at. And I did not like a long commute. Honestly, to this day, I still like a long commute. I always try to live close to my workplace because I love walking to work. But when I look back on it, I bonded so much with my coworkers. I had 2 of them during those long commutes. Like we'd sit together, we'd gossip, we'd like talk about like TikToks. It just like was a really good bonding exercise for us having those long commutes. And then because of that, one of our bosses heard about the long commute and he decided to like drive us to work a few days out of the week. He had this really cool Tesla and it was just a good experience, you know. And I can think about so many other things during the summer where, you know, maybe there'd be 3 projects and I'd get the one that I was least interested in, but then I ended up loving it, right? So just keep an open mind. Things may not go your way. Even if you don't end up getting into the program, right? There's a reason behind it. Keep an open mind, try to stay positive, and just try to make the best out of whatever scenario you're in. I feel like that advice will take you a very long way in life.
Nina?
Yeah, so for the written application, I'd say make sure to express like why BOE is great for you, what you can offer to BOE, and also express like what your goals are for like, the future and how BOE can help you really attain that. I think that's like really valuable for people who are viewing your application. And in terms of the summer immersion experience, I'd say things are not going to be easy all the time. So take these challenges as like a learning experience, and also be aware that there's always like Irina and like the BOE directors who are always there to your support system and also your cohort. So it's although BOE is a great opportunity for you to really become independent, there's always people around you to support you. So I think always be aware of that.
Thank you. Tiana?
Yeah, I would say within the application, I think like it's fair to say that none of us worked at a VC firm before, so it's perfectly fine that you haven't. But I think it's like what sets you apart is just like your story and like your interest to be in like that space and like having like prior, I don't know, experience. Like I think in high school, like I worked with a leadership nonprofit and we started a lot of different things, and I think like being able to be really like to tell your own story, I guess, in your way. So like whether you've crafted something or built something, I think like highlighting that, but also like expressing interest in wanting to work in like a VC space and like doing your homework and doing your own a little bit of research. I think that really helps, but I think too it's just like sharing your own story and like showing your passion and like really excitement in it too. I think highlighting that.
Colin?
Yeah, I mean, you already said great things, so I'll just like keep it short, but definitely like, remember like you don't have all the answers. I feel like even like VC is just so nebulous and stuff that like they don't even really have the answers. So just remember like, honestly, just kind of jump into that curiosity of like why you think it's interesting. Like just having that is definitely just huge.
But now I'm just fucking angry. I can't do this anymore. Fucking hell. Okay, I'm gonna end the stream. I think I'll be back soon.